I went out plein air painting the other day and I chose a scene that most people would just walk straight past. A few trees in an open field, nothing dramatic, nothing that's going to stop you in your tracks, but I saw something in it and I thought it would make a really good painting. It's a simple one, but sometimes the simple ones are the ones that work best. It is a really nice sunny afternoon up here in far north New Zealand where I live. It's winter now, but still quite warm out in the sun, and it's one of those days where I just want to go out plein air painting, but I don't have a lot of time left just because it's going to be getting dark in a couple of hours. So I was driving around in my local area and I just saw a view and I was like, yeah, that looks cool, let's just park up and paint it. So I'll show you what I'm going to paint. I'll just turn my camera around. So it's a really nice simple view actually, just some fields and some trees that are turning colour because it's still, even though it's technically the start of winter, it's still sort of autumn time. We don't get a whole lot of autumn colour up here, but I just thought it would be nice to paint. So it's a nice simple view. I've already sketched out my composition here and I'm going to make a start. I'll just show you the colours I'm using. So I'm using titanium white, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium red light, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cobalt teal and phthalo green. Now, as I said earlier, I only had a couple of hours to paint before it was getting dark, so I had to move quickly. So for this reason, I've painted on an 8" by 10" linen canvas panel here. So it's just a small painting that I can smash out quickly. These linen panels are made by a brand called Source Tech, and if you want to get some, I'll put a link in the description box below. And I'm painting with oils, and the brand of oil paint I'm using is Blue Ridge Oils, and again, if you want to get some, I've put a link in the description box below. Now then, the landscape I was painting here, I was really just more focused on the elements in the scene rather than capturing it as is. So I made the tree on the right side of the painting a little bigger, and I've also made the trees that are in the midground bigger as well. You can actually see the tree that I'm painting to the left of the canvas. It wasn't a very big tree. I think it's an oak tree and it's just not fully mature yet, so only about half the size, but I made it bigger in the scene, and it was really the elements in the scene that I just wanted to focus on. Painting some of these trees, capturing the autumn colours and capturing the atmosphere of the day. So don't forget, I'm in New Zealand and our seasons are in reverse, so at the time of recording this video it's the start of winter. Now then, when I start my paintings, I start with the darkest values and shadows first, so this quickly allows me to establish a tonal dynamic in the painting and just the overall key of the painting as well. Then once you've painted your dark values, it makes it much easier to paint the areas in light afterwards. So I'm using flat brushes here to block in the darks, and generally I use flat brushes for most of my landscape paintings and mainly throughout. There are some other different brushes that I use, but I'm mostly using flat brushes. I just think you can get the best marks with them. Nice, loose and expressive gestural brush marks, which is especially ideal for plein air painting, because plein air painting, it really lends itself to that loose impressionistic effect, and that's what I want to convey in this painting as well. So I'm not worrying about detail at all. Now, to paint some of these autumn tones, I used a mix of yellow ochre, some cadmium yellow, some cadmium red light, also a little bit of ultramarine blue, there's a bit of alizarin crimson, some burnt sienna and titanium white, so a mix of colours. I've edged some of the colour mixes on the greener side as well by using a little bit more ultramarine blue, as some of the foliage hadn't completely turned yet, so was still a little green. So we're getting a variety of colours here, and what I really like about this scene is we're getting some nice warm tones in the trees there that have turned colour, and it's a nice contrast against the cooler tones of the grass that's in the foreground here. Now the grass is nice and vibrant and green because it gets quite wet up here in Northland in far north New Zealand in winter. And to create the colour for the grass, I used a mix of yellow ochre, cadmium yellow, some ultramarine blue and titanium white, which was forming the base of my green. Then I was adding a little bit of phthalo green. Now this gives it a nice grass green emerald tone and a nice saturation kick as well. So really good for increasing the saturation of your greens. However, you've got to be careful not to use too much of it. But I also balance out those greens with a little bit of cadmium red light and some alizarin crimson as well. If I want to warm up the greens a little bit, I can add in a little bit more cadmium red light along with the cadmium yellow, or just mix in a bit of yellow ochre. So I'm also paying attention to the saturation of the colour, because we'll find our most saturated colours in the foreground, particularly with greens, but as the greens go into the distance they're going to become less saturated. However, as most of this painting is in the foreground and midground, the greens were still pretty high in chroma across the whole painting, so not really something to worry about too much. Now then, there's so many benefits to painting outdoors because it helps you to see the landscape a lot better. It helps you to better understand the lights and darks in the landscape, the different colours, the reflected light, the main light source, the dark and light accents, the true colours, all of these different things. The other thing is as well is it teaches you to paint quickly and also simplify the scene, simplify shapes, create better compositions. So we can use this as information gathering so that when we get back to the studio we can develop these painting ideas further and perhaps turn them into full large paintings. However, if you've been struggling with your landscape painting and you're not sure where to start or how to get to the next level with your painting, I've created a guide that shows you my painting process from selecting photos all the way to the final painting, and there's also a painting demonstration in there as well. It's all in my free landscape painting blueprint, and if you want to get it, just click the link below and I'll send it over to you. Enjoy! Now at this point in the painting I was already starting to think about getting it finished because I could see that the light was fading fast as the sun was getting lower in the sky. So I've just opted for loose broad gestural brush marks and an overall sort of impressionistic painting here. But let's talk a little bit about the composition. It's loosely based on the Steelyard composition, which I got the idea from Edgar Payne's book Composition of Outdoor Painting. So basically you have a large mass that's counterbalanced by a smaller mass. So in this case the large mass is the tree on the right and the smaller mass is the trees on the left. Then the other thing to consider in this scene is the horizon line. You should never have your horizon line in the middle, and in this case I made this painting have a higher horizon so that I could capture more of the foreground. Now the other thing as well I thought about with this painting is the overall values of the trees. So trees, they tend to be some of the darkest values in the landscape, and some of those trees in the background are pretty dark because they're evergreen. There's a mix of gum trees and some New Zealand native trees as well, and even some pine trees there, so they're pretty dark. And what I did was I used those to juxtapose those lighter trees against them so that they stand out more. Now there are some exceptions to the values of trees. As I say, they do tend to be the darkest values in the landscape, but when it's autumn and some of these trees are turning yellow, they can be much lighter in value, as yellow is a light value colour in general. There's also some trees there that have completely lost their leaves as well, and the bark and branches and twigs are pretty light in value as well. So there are some exceptions. However, they look really nice juxtaposed against the darker values of the trees behind them. At this point in the painting I was restating my dark values, so things like the shadows in the grass, which was a mix of yellow ochre, some ultramarine blue. Also I added a little bit of phthalo green, bit of cobalt teal and a bit of alizarin crimson in there as well, and just allowed even some of it to mix in with the grass that's in light. I also painted the suggestion of some branches and stems in these trees just with a number 0 rigger brush. And then the other thing I did with the tree on the right was paint some sky holes and add a bit of form and structure to it with the suggestion of some scaffold branches and just sky holes within the tree. So just sculpting the tree's canopy definitely gives it more character and makes it look more tree-like. I was then adding some last little details, such as some fences. There was actually quite a few fences there which were forming kind of a uniform pattern, which I didn't like, so I painted these fences as if they were like falling apart basically, just to, again, to add some interest in the painting. The one thing we've got to be careful of is the eye-carrying power of lines, so it's always good to break up these lines and vectors that are in the painting. I then finished up my painting by adding my lightest values, which I saved towards the end, and then a few last little details like the suggestion of some cows in the midground there. Now I really had to get my painting finished because, as you can see in the background, the light was disappearing and the painting was pretty much finished at this point. I was just fiddling, adding some last little bits of detail, mainly some of this straw coloured grass, which is breaking up the green of the grass and adding some interest to the painting overall. I was just getting a variety of colours in there, mostly based around yellow ochre, some burnt sienna, titanium white, alizarin crimson and a bit of ultramarine blue. Also the red in this mixture, especially with the burnt sienna, is a nice colour complement to the green. So anyway, as I say, the light was fast disappearing and it was here that I decided to put my brushes down and call it a day. Alright, well, I reckon it's time to put the brushes down now. Definitely fun painting this one. The sun's about to set, so I'm really not going to be able to do much more, but it's just a nice simple plein air. Really wanted to capture those trees and just the light as well. So then, time for me to pack up. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely getting colder out here. If you'd like to learn more about painting landscapes, then come join me at my landscape painting school, where I'll show you the fundamentals of landscape painting. We do a weekly live painting class, and I can help you to really take your landscape paintings to the next level, whether you're a complete beginner or you're a seasoned painter. So I've put the link in the description box below. Definitely come join me there. Also, if you'd like to learn more about plein air painting, then watch this video here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.